Hey guys, Big at 310 here again with a video response to TSlay. Sorry, I've been sick the last 2 days. Yeah, I know you all are gonna make fun of me for that. But on Saturday I made that top 100 video. It just took me fucking 3 days to upload because YouTube is being so gay, including right now too, as I've heard. But I need to make a response to. Well, I don't need to. I want to make a response to TSlay's last video. Top 100 matches. Just gonna have to go on hold. I'm only planning on doing 2, maybe 3 more videos on that. So don't even worry about it. So now I want to talk about his latest video about the WrestleMania 27 main event. And I'm here to not give you a main event. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. I promise this video will be short. The title of this video, as you see, is "If You Build It, They Will Come." If you guys remember, it was one of my favorite commercials. Maybe it only aired in my state, but I'm pretty sure it aired in other places too. For Rapids Water Parks. Rapids Water Park. I'm saying it only aired in my state because it was promoting a park that was like 3 hours away from me. But I know Rapids Water Park has parks all over the Northeast. So there's this guy who says, "If you build it, they will come." Just like in Field of Dreams, you know, which is probably where most of you are going to sort the reference from. But to me, the commercial's where I get it from. If you build it, they will come. And it was one of my favorite commercials when I was a kid, and I think it applies perfectly to this video. If you build it, they will come. If you build the main event properly, the people will come. I personally think that star power is overrated. Because, yes, star power can mean something, but if you don't build it for shit, it doesn't fucking matter. If you have what everybody thinks is probably, and it probably is, the most star-studded Mania match they can come up with, John Cena versus The Undertaker, if you announce that on Raw at 11 o'clock, the go-home show before WrestleMania, no one's fucking buying that pay-per-view. I mean, yes, it is probably the most star-studded main event that you could have of the roster you have. No one's going to buy it. If you build a match freaking 4 months in advance, 3 months in advance, and you build it properly, and you do everything right along the way, and not just that you build it, but that the storyline's actually interesting, that the storyline grabs our attention, then yeah, I think more people would buy a show as opposed to Cena Taker announced the week before, or even 2-3 weeks before. I personally think that the best way for any main event is to build it. If you build it, they will come. Triple H versus Randy Orton is one of my prime examples. That match, not really what a lot of people are looking forward to. It's kind of like John Cena versus Orton now. We've seen it a million times. There's no real special quality about it. We have no really darn interest to see it. We know the match isn't going to be that amazing. But you know what? They built that feud well. I mean, yeah, they fucked up a lot of times on the way. The home invasion angle, fucking Shane knocking out Randy Orton. But like everything about that storyline was just different. Whether it be the Randy Orton DDTing Stephanie McMahon and kissing Stephanie, that was great. The simple fact that they brought out that Triple H and Steph were married, Randy Orton punting Vince at the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. They built Randy Orton and they built that feud. It was interesting. I know a lot of people that told me they were really excited for that feud, and then they fell flat on their faces. But they were really, really, really excited for that feud. It felt really interesting. It got their attention, and hence people wanted to see the pay-per-view. Now, to me, it doesn't really matter. Like right now, we could take 2 main eventers that we've seen a million times, like a Triple H Orton, like the other match that was I heard that was planned for Mania, Cena Edge, before they threw the Big Show in there. You could do that now if you build it right. Obviously, I think Cena Orton, not many people are going to want to see that anymore. But I think if you can do like a fucking Triple H versus Edge. Actually, Edge is a babyface. John Cena versus whatever. And you build it properly, I think it can work. Now, the sad thing is, we've already passed that point. I think we've passed the point of being built properly. That true grasping build. I think by this point, it's too late. You have a storyline, and I'm going to get to that. But as long as the storyline is really, really interesting and the feud is intense and it makes sense and people want to see it, I think they'll buy the show. That's my personal opinion, and I do think that's how it would go. I mean, obviously, if you announce Cena Taker like the show after the Rumble, obviously that can't happen. But I'm saying if they do this and they built it well for 2 months, no shit, people are gonna still want to see it. But I think it's all about the feud. I think it doesn't matter what the main event. If the main event is something interesting, and you don't build it properly, I don't think anyone's going to give a shit. Look at Taker Shawn last year. People built that shit from December. They built that crap all the way through, and it worked. You can't just like not build it and just think it'll work just because of the star-studded power you have in it. If you bring back freaking Brock Lesnar, if they were going to do Brock Lesnar Undertaker, and they announced it like a month in advance, and they built it terribly, like they fought on every single Raw, there was a decisive winner each time, and then they had their match at WrestleMania, it wouldn't nowhere near mean as much. I mean, yeah, people would be interested to see Lesnar, but still, the simple fact is, if you build it the right way, it will come. I personally don't think it matters what the main event is. Sure, we don't know what the main event is right now, and I think a lot of people are really upset. They're like, oh, well, we're not going to get something great this year. They lost Michaels, they lost Jericho, they lost Batista, they lost, who else am I missing? They lost someone else. There's not really something that can grab our attention. But I think it doesn't matter who's in the main event. I think if they build it properly. Now, I understand that not a lot of people are happy with The Miz and being in the main event of WrestleMania. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying if he was. And I can totally understand your gripes. And I do think Miz is far beyond the point of salvage. I mean, they really would have to do a freaking amazing job building Miz from here to Mania in order for people to want to see him in the main event of WrestleMania. But as long as there's two main eventers in there and the feud is great, the feud is really interesting and grappling, I think it'll work. Like I said, Triple H Orton, I was not excited for that match at all when I first heard about it in January of 2009. But, you know, when they're building it and it got more intense and they seemed like they were bringing actual heat, I was kind of excited for the match. I'm not going to lie. So, yeah, and I do agree that this year's Mania is going to be a little lackluster. I mean, I'm going to wait until the full card is announced. But as for what I'll say this, of what the supposed matches could be, like, people are talking Edge, Del Rio, Cena, Miz, Cena, Punk, which I would love. But Cena, Miz, Edge, Del Rio, Wade, Barrett, Undertaker, Nexus versus Nexus. I understand not a lot of people are excited for this stuff. But I truly do think that if you build it properly, they will come. I truly think that if it's built the right way, it will happen. Now, if you want to give my opinion on what it should be, I mean, yeah, if they can do Cena Taker, but it would have to be... It doesn't need to be for the championship, but I just feel it has to, if it's going to main event, I think it's better if it's a championship. I know they don't need the title, but like Cena Batista last year, yes, they didn't need the title, but that doesn't mean that they should have main evented Mania that year. They should have been the last match on the show. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, obviously is a fucking retirement of Shawn Michaels. That was a big deal. But like if you look at the year before, there's a reason Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, I can see why they didn't have it main event the show. But if they're going to have a main event the show and they give Cena Taker a title, then yeah, I think it worked. But I think what they're starting now and what they're doing a good job with, except for one thing, Cena Punk. I do truly think Punk could be that guy. That guy like a Jericho, like a Michaels last year, or the year before who was partially heel. Or what am I saying? Not really a tweener, but, you know, like super kicking Teddy Long. That's not exactly a face thing. I truly think he can be that guy that can carry a program for 3 months and truly make people want to see it, truly get people into it. And plus, I think people would like to see someone fresh in the main event. I know a lot of people griped with last year that the main event was all the main events for Mania were full with people they've already seen before. This could be something new, and I think it could work. They've been building it. If they go all the way from Mania for 4 months now. Now, of course, the obvious problem, they've already had a match on Raw, which I was not a fan of when they announced that. I thought for sure it would be a no finish. And it was, technically, but they still had like a full-length match. But I still think they can salvage it. I still think they can, if they build it properly, it can work all the way to Mania. But yeah, like I said, if you build it, they will come. I think as long as the build is great and everything's great, I think people will go to see it. Even if, you know, like just the actual people in the event won't be that great. But yeah, that's my opinion. Mr. TSlay. Hope you enjoyed. Top 100 matches will continue Thursday, I think. I finally saw Wrestle Kingdom, by the way. That show was great. But we'll get to that later. All right, I'm Big Rat 310, and I'm out. See ya.